Hello there. Hello ballers, what's going on? It's Preacher. Let's get back into choosing a main for BfA. I did get back to streaming today and it was the #1 asked question, so I need to answer it here because I've done this for many expansions, this whole process. We started it in the last video and we're going to have to do things a little bit different now because we know there are major class changes coming in 8.1 that Blizzard has run out of time to implement into the launch of BfA. Now, we don't know what the breadth and scope of that will be. Will some classes get major overhauls? Will they be minor talent changes? We don't know, and that means that me advising you on something to commit to for BfA would be irresponsible, I think is the word. Irresponsible. So what we can say is this, and I will go through what I'm choosing now. What we can say is the stuff that's already had an overhaul is going to stay that way. They're not going to be on the priority list for anything that needs to be have work done on it. Their talents are pretty good, their gameplay's pretty good, and their Azerite trait system actually complements them well, because obviously they were designed with the new gameplay in mind. So, with that said, the recommendations I would put out for you guys would certainly be the Warlock, right? The Warlock is just a monster in BfA. It's an absolute monster. It's had some DPS tuning recently, which some people seem like sad about, although I wouldn't be. It was way overpowered in a lot of respects. But demo does seem to have been hit for those of you guys who are super hit with demo. It's still great for AoE and will probably still find its place somewhere. Certainly none of the Warlock specs, from what I can tell, are going to be garbage to the point where nobody will take you. So if you're not doing mythic cutting edge raiding, where you'll likely be destruction, based on what's happening right now, that could change tomorrow numbers wise. The Warlock overall is just in a really good place. An absolutely tremendously good place. Similar with the Warrior, some minor tweaks here and there going on, but overall the Warrior is top shelf right now. It really is. The only downside of the Warrior is the tank spec. I don't think it's particularly exciting, but it works and they're really strong. Very, very strong. Their anger management talent and the things they can do with their cooldowns now kind of makes them feel like a Wrath of the Lich King Blood DK tank. I said Blood DK then. DK tank, for those of you who played that far back, where they just had these monstrous cooldowns and were able to manage very difficult content really well, where other tanks just couldn't keep up with them. They get their cooldowns back so quickly now that it makes for some really good gameplay. So Warlock and Warrior, definitely the DPS specs are great. Also Priest. Priest is great, besides Shadow. Now, I'm on board, and there's a number of you who have supported me on this, because I did talk about this on the web show that we had this past weekend, is for some reason, I've just got a drive to play Shadow in BfA. I really want to play it, but right now it doesn't seem to fit into a good, solid Mythic raid composition. Then there will definitely be spots for many people, especially depending on how much progress you want to do, but the other specs seem stronger and bring more to the raid right now, and it is one of the specs that Blizzard has openly said will be getting changed in 8.1. So, Shadow, sorry about that, but Dis and Holy, tippity top. A little bit of an easier playstyle for Dis going into BfA, really good. And Holy's just very solid at just raw output healing. It has always been and will be the monster healer when it needs to. If you just need health and your boys need more health than what they have, the Holy Priest is the way to go. Now, what specs aren't getting much changes but are likely not to? So you can take this as a prediction. I would rate the classes that probably aren't on the top priority for a revamp or anything major happening in 8.1, but this is a pure guess. Will be the DK, the Demon Hunter, the Mage, the Monk, and the Paladin, and the Rogue. I think they're more than reasonably okay with where they are, considering the other specs like Shaman and Shadow Priest and some individuals out there. I think this is a good place to point out, as much as people are disappointed in class design overall, and there are some overall terrible changes to near enough every class and spec in the game, there are obviously some worse than others, which is a difficult concept for so many people to manage. Either everything shit or nothing is. That seems to be how people's brains work. No, there's lots of specs in the game, and there's good ones and there's bad ones, and there's some that are just bad and some that are not as bad, and so on and so forth. So DK, Demon Hunter, I would actually throw Druid in there as well. DK, Demon Hunter, Druid, Hunter, Mage, Monk, Paladin, and Rogue, I think will stay reasonably the same, despite complaints coming from all sides, especially the Demon Hunters. I know the Rogues have had some really big issues recently that they're trying to resolve. And at the same time, the Ret Paladin Paladins seem very, very happy. None of the specs I would like to play, if you're more curious about what I'm going to play, but all of those are very solid. They're very, very solid. They genuinely are. Unholy and Frost are really good. I'm not a big fan of Blood. It's okay, but it's not exciting me in any way. The Demon Hunter Vengeance is tremendously good. It's really good fun all the time, and the amount of you who've already switched to Vengeance and are loving it makes my fucking heart warm. It really does. Havoc, though, I'm okay with it. I never expect Havoc to ever be a complicated spec and have more intricacy than what it does. The Demon Hunter, I mean, I can go back to my alpha videos and tell you that right there and then the spec knew what it wanted to be, which was very simple to play for the most part and very, very flashy. It knew what it was doing, and I think it will stay that way. As you can see in the background, I've been playing a lot of Hunter recently. BM is a very simple spec, but it provides great movement. Wonderful if you're pretty crappy at managing a lot of reasonable complexity while there's lots of raid mechanics going on and you're looking to do well in Heroic and maybe Mythic, and you want to have the mobility to move around without losing much damage while you can focus on all the things going on the raid. A lot of people want me to hate BM. It's not a spec for me. That's fine. But there are loads of players out there who who enjoy a relatively simple spec that allows them to do better because they don't have to focus too much on other things. And and by proxy makes them a better player. So I'm happy with the Hunter. Survival is still pretty fun. It's nice. It's basic. It's simple. It's a spender, builder spender style of play. It's the standard stuff. Monk, looking solid. Some ups and downs. I would say Mistweaver's definitely going to be a staple of every decent raid team. Mistweaver's in a really good place. Brewmaster's really fun to play. I played around with the new mixed up style where they get a breath of fire. I'll have videos coming on all these specs coming up, by the way. And Windwalker has lost some feeling of power, certainly with Fist of Fury. I noticed it straight away when I was playing Windwalker. It's like, this feels really weak. But the overall gameplay is still really fun. It's still definitely one of the better specs in the game, and it always has been. The Windwalker has always been a super interesting, very flashy, but not quite on the Demon Hunter sort of more edgy level. That's not the way it works with the Monk. It's been more about flash and using, you know, ninja skills and stuff, and a lot of the stuff the Monk carries with it, the hit combos and stuff, I'm still a massive fan of. I think it's a really good ability. Paladin, Holy's pretty much doing what Holy does. It's a numbers game with Holy, and that's what they're waiting for, the Holy Paladin. Ret is in a really good place, according to people who really enjoy Ret. And I will take that word. I am not by no means a lover of a Ret Paladin. I never have and probably never will be until they change it basically into how a different class plays. It's just not for me, and that's fine. Like I said with BM, that's all right. Not every spec and class in this game should be designed for me to enjoy it. But I can see the appeal of it, and people are calling it back to kata. I would agree with that. It feels, even though I say I don't like it, you can check my channel. I've played these specs for nearly 10 years doing content and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not exactly like I don't have experience with it. I'm just taking other people's words for it. But I would agree that it feels kind of more like a kata Ret Paladin, which I know amongst my Ret Paladin friends was their favorite time. So I'll do some more videos on that coming up so you guys get a good look at it. The Rogue is kind of remaining similar with some ease of use. Some of the... I think many of us who mained a Rogue in Warlords of Draenor would wish they'd go back to that. I feel like they've overcommitted at this point, and what it is how it's going to be with Legion, and they're simplifying it a little bit more into BfA, because let's be honest, the Rogue changes haven't gone well for them. Changing it from the WoD Rogue to the Legion Rogue, I would consider pretty much a failure in what they were trying to do with it to reinvigorate this class. I don't think they've done it any favors, but they've kind of committed to it right now. Okay, so those are those ones. The outliers then, the risk takers, are going to be the Shadow Priests, and the Shamans. Now, Enhancement is feeling better in the eyes of some people. Its damage is ridiculous right now. I don't expect its damage to be nerfed. I've played alongside some Enhancement Shamans this week that have just been doing astronomical numbers that don't make any sense. So if you're basing your love of it on the DPS, it's probably going to come back down again. Elemental, this is going to annoy some people, I know. But I like Ellie. It's got problems. The Flame Shock going back on the cooldown. You can see I was playing it again today, and I had fun with it. Again, I had fun with it, and I will stand by that. My disappointment with the Shaman isn't really Enhancement. It isn't really Elemental, of course. It's Resto. Resto needs some sort of reinvigoration, some life putting back into it. The Resto Shaman has the best toolkit of any of the healers in the game, and I'm bored of it. It just feels like it's stagnated and lost in the past somewhere with its style of healing. I think they've pushed so heavy into making it more graphically appealing, while mechanically it feels like, can we have a little bit more here? But then again, some people enjoy it. I will say that the Resto Shamans, as far as I'm aware, with a lot of guilds, Mythic preparation, if you are a Mythic Raider, there's not a lot of love going towards the Resto Shamans right now. Similar with Holy Paladins. They probably will get a look in some form, but there's not a lot of love there compared to the Priests, the Mistweavers, the Resto Druids, and so on and so forth. So that might be something to consider. If you disagree with me, that's fine. You don't need to complain. I'm not telling you not to play it. I'm telling you the information as I know it. Okay, what am I taking in? So, with 8.1 in mind, and obviously my desire to play a Shadow Priest, this kind of really goofs me up. Because while I've told you the state of the specs, and I'll show you content of all of them side by side so you can see what I like and what I dislike, and I'm going to do that over the next few days as we lead up to PreachCon, I'm going to save my money. Now, that doesn't mean I'm quitting the game. What that means is, until 8.1, I'm kind of refusing to commit, which is awful, because I want to commit. I would love to commit to a class, but I don't think that's wise right now. So what I'm going to do... and I say save money because I actually raid on a different server now than where all my characters are. So I don't want to start transferring everything over there needlessly if I'm not really going to play them. So I'm going to be playing Druid and Mage at the moment, I think. Druid and Mage is what I'm going to take with me. Purely because, one, they're already geared to the teeth in Legion. And two, they're already on my current raid server. I'm going to be dropping the Death Knight. Frost is just too damn slow for me. I do not enjoy Blood. And Unholy, I do like it, but that's 1 out of 3. That's not enough for me. And as you know, when we're choosing a spec, for me, I need to enjoy all of the specs. Now, you're going to be like, Druid, you don't like Druid. I don't particularly enjoy it. You're right, but I'm not going to move anything else over. So Druid is the kind of... I quite enjoy Feral. Moonkin is tolerable for me compared to my Legion Moonkin. It's all right. And Resto I do enjoy, and Guardian I really don't like at all. Which means, like, aren't you going against your own rules? Not really. I do kind of want to drop the Druid in 8.1, but I'm not sure what I'm going to replace it with. That's my struggle. That's my struggle, because right now, I would like to bring the Priest over, because I enjoy Holy, I enjoy Dis, I can play some off-spec of those, no problem, and I really want Shadow to be up there, but it's just not quite there yet. And I'll keep my peepers out for that. I would also like to bring my Shaman over and have an Elemental alt as well. What I don't want to do is 2 Flavor of the Month, because I think everybody's going to be carrying a ton of Warlocks. And I've done Warlock mains too many times now. I'm not really a big fan of it. So the only one I'm actually going to bring with me of the 3 characters, as we discussed the last video, really into BfA, is going to be the Warrior. I've transferred my Warrior to my new server. I'm not going to gear him to the teeth. There's no point with this much time left. But I'm going to dispense with the DK. I'm sacrificing the DK right now, and I'm going to put the Warrior in its place. I enjoy Fury, I enjoy Arms, and I enjoy Prot. And for those of you who don't know, I was a Warrior since vanilla. That was my class, mate. This is my baby, and I've not enjoyed it for a really long time. And I have a lot of special memories with my Warrior. As sad as that is for some of you to hear, I don't care. I did my Immortal on my Warrior. I did my my first ever video, The Way of the Warrior, that went, it went crazy wild when I released that video. That was on that character. I have a ton of great memories on that, and a lot of friendships and stuff that come back when I play that character. When I open my bank and see some of the old items I have on that character as the original one, I remember how I got them, who I got them with, and all that, and I've loved it for so many years, until Mists of Pandaria is when I really fell out of love with it and didn't enjoy it in Warlords of Draenor either, and didn't overly like it in Legion. It was okay, and BfA has brought it all the way back round for me, so I'm hoping for a return to form for it. It is a little flavor of the month. I would expect to see tons of Warriors in BfA because they are in a really good place right now. The changes they've made have worked out pretty good. So that's what I'm going to do. So not the answer you're probably hoping for, which is like, I love this one. That's not the case. I'm basically out of necessity of having to pick in an uncertain world, because the classes are very uncertain right now. Like I said, it's the breadth and scope of the changes we're going to see in 8.1 that we don't know. Will they be complete overhauls? Will they be a couple of talents? I don't know. So if it is only a couple of talents, then maybe you can easily fill in your choices there. But that is how I am rolling into BfA. I'm taking my Mage, I'm taking my Warrior, and I'm taking my Druid, and I'm going ham. Will there be a main? Not really. My mains will probably be Magey Druid, Magey Warrior. I imagine Mage will be right up there. They're really solid in BfA. The playstyle is still pretty fun for the most part. Not as good as Legion as with anything else, but it's tolerable for now until we can find our feet in Legion and figure out what is the roadmap Blizzard has for us going forward. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.